Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. We are all welcome once again to our Alqirā-atur-Rāshida lessons, our Arabic proficiency lessons with Alqirā-atur-Rāshida. Inshallah, today we are looking at Hadith al-Qamar, and Hadith al-Qamar is like in 3 episodes, and this will end our book 2, inshallah. So the first episode of the Hadith al-Qamar, the talk of the moon. Hadith al-Qamar, like we are discussing the moon. We are talking about the moon. Yani hadithun hawla al-Qamar. Al-hadith hawla al-Qamar. A talk on the moon. Okay. So he says that كانت السماء مصحية. كانت السماء مصحية. مصحية بمعنى خال من الغيم. يعني ليس فيه غيم. ليس في السماء غيم. So he says that كانت السماء مصحية لا غيم فيها. So he even defines the مصحية أي لا غيم فيها. When we say السماء مصحية بمعنى لا غيم فيها أي لا غيم في السماء. Okay. So he says that كانت السماء مصحية لا غيم فيها, without it had no clouds. غيم بمعنى clouds, يعني the sky was clear, there was no formed clouds in the sky. والليلة مقمرة, and the night was, when we say الليلة المقمرة, when the moon is very clear and it has a serene atmosphere, that's what we call الليلة المقمرة. The muqmira comes from the qamar. The manner you can see the moon clearly and it has a very serene atmosphere, no clouds, so the moon is very clear there. وكان هشام يطالع القمر, and Hisham كان يطالع القمر. طالع بمعنى to look at, as we saw in the كيف أقضي يومي في مطالعة كتاب, in looking through a book. We've used it all this while for book. And I said we can say طالع الساعة. When you are walking abroad, you see that there are some buildings, clock is on top of it. So if I say طالعت-الساعة, I looked at the clock. Okay, it says وكان هشام يطالع القمر. Hisham was looking at the moon, was taking a look at the moon. كأنما يطالع في كتاب. It was as if he was looking into a book, as if he was looking through a book, the way he was looking at the moon attentively. وكان أبوه يرى ذلك, and his father used to see that. كان يرى, he used to see that. في الليلة المقمرة, in that kind of serene night when the moon is clearly up there. His father used to see that phenomena, that Hisham is always looking at the moon. Okay. فأراد ألا يضيع هذا النظر. So his father wanted that Hisham should not waste this sight. فأراد ألا يضيع هذا النظر. The father is the one, the arada here is أراد أبوه ألا يضيع هشام هذا النظر. The father wanted that Hisham should not waste this sight. ولا يخلو من درس, and it shouldn't be devoid of a lesson. This sight, beautiful sight you are looking at, shouldn't be for waste, and it shouldn't be devoid of any lesson. قال الوالد, and so the father said, يا هشام, oh Hisham, أراك تنظر إلى القمر طويلا. I see you looking at the moon for a long time. And the verb أراك, أرى, you can, the مفعول به can be yourself. You see, you can hardly say ضربني, I ضربتني, I beat me. It sounds some way. So you say, and for araka, you can say arani. The fa'il and the maf'ul bi can all be the mutakallim. Arani, I see me. Inni arani fil manam, I see myself in a dream. So I am the one seeing, I'm the fa'il. The ni refers to me, I'm the maf'ul bihi. Other verbs you can't do that. Okay, so this kind of verbs you can do that. Like zonantuni, I thought of myself. Zonantuni rajulan qawiyan, I thought myself as a strong man. ولكن خاب ظني, Okay, but then my thought failed me. It was wrong. Okay. أراك تنظر إلى القمر طويلا. I see you looking at the moon for a long time. كأنك تتمتع بمنظره. كأنك تتمتع, as if you are enjoying. تتمتع بمنظره, with its sight. منظر, sight. هشام نعم يا أبي. Yes, oh my father. إن منظره, its sight indeed جميل جدا, is very beautiful. لا أكاد عفوا لا أكاد أملأ عيني منه. أملأ fill, F-I-L-L, fill. لا أكاد أملأ عيني منه. I'm almost filling my eyes or filling my sight with it. And you have looked till it looks like it is filling my sight, occupying my sight. لا أكاد أملأ عيني منه. But then you see akad being used alone without the nafi, without the la or ma keda or la yakadu. Sometimes you see it yakadu or akadu. So if you had said akadu amla'u aini minhu, the verb keda is almost. If I say akadu amla'u aini minhu, I'm almost filling my sight with it. That is, I didn't fill my sight with it. Akadu usaddiku qawlaka. I'm almost believing your statement. That is, I've not believed it yet. But if I say la akadu usaddiku qawlaka, yani kind of I've come close to believing it, I've actually given it a slight belief. La akadu, when it comes with the nafi, it means that I've believed but lightly. So if he's here, he says, if he had said akadu amla'u aini minhu, I'm almost filling my sight with it. That is, it's almost, he didn't. But when he says la akadu amla'u aini minhu, bimana I've filled my sight with it somehow, a little, kind of, I've quite filled my sight with it, not so much. This concept is very complicated, somewhat complicated, even in the Arabic setting. So if I say la akadu, bimana I've actually done what the verb I'm going to talk about, but a little. لا يكاد يستطيع أن يمشي. لا يكاد يمشي. لا يكاد يمشي means he walks a bit. And he's not able to walk, but he did it a bit. But if I say يكاد يمشي, he's not walking at all. He's almost walking, but he's not walking. So somebody is on a sick bed and you ask me how is he now? He's not able to get up. You ask me how is he now? I can say يكاد يمشي. أو يكاد يقوم من السرير. He's almost getting up of the bed. But if I respond to you, لا يكاد يمشي, لا يكاد يقوم من السرير, he's gotten up out of the bed slightly. He's able to raise himself out of the bed slightly. Okay. So he says, ولو قدرت لصعدت إليه بسلم. لو قدرت, if I was able, if I had the ability, لصعدت, I would have climbed إليه, to the moon. بسلم. Sulam is a ladder. Ladder, L-A-D-D-E-R. Like if I had the ability, I would have climbed to it with a ladder or with any staircase. Sulam. With a staircase, I would have climbed to the moon. You can see that he really loves the moon. Al-Walidu, the father, وَكَمْ تُقَدِّرُ بُعْدَهُ. You see here there are not so much vowels, but Ustaz is looking that we've grown so we know how to go about our vowels. Okay. وَكَمْ تُقَدِّرُ. How do you value? At what value do you give? بُعْدَهُ is distance, the distance of the moon. كَمْ تُقَدِّرُ بُعْدَهُ. I كَمْ تُقَدِّرُ بُعْدَ الْقَمَرِ. How do you measure the distance of the moon? How guess it? What's the distance? Like I show you something, a phone, a machine, anything, I show it to you and I say, قدر ثمن هذا. Guess the price, its price. Yani give it a price. How would you give it? What would you do? So if you tell somebody, أقدرك, yani I regard you so much. أقدرك جدا. I really regard you. And so the verb تقدير comes as a synonym for, the noun تقدير comes as a synonym for ihtiram. Okay. Says وَأَيُّ سُلَّمٍ أَوْ مَنَارَةٍ تَرَاهَا تَكْفِيكَ لِلصُّعُودِ إِلَى الْقَمَرِ. What kind of ladder or what kind of minaret do you see as enough, تكفيك, that suffices you, للصعود, for climbing إلى القمر, to the moon. وأي سلم أو منارة تراها تكفيك للصعود إلى القمر. What kind of ladder or minaret, that long tower. What kind of minaret, what kind of ladder or tower do you think is fitting enough, sufficing enough to carry you to the moon? Then Hisham says, Inni lam ara ya abi sullaman rafi'an jiddan. Oh my father, I have not seen any rafi'an bimana tall, long. When you say something is rafi', bimana it is high. I have not seen any very high ladder like that. Walakin uqaddiru, here walakin aqdiru, but I would be able, إذا كانت هنالك منارة, that I would have been able if there was a tower. Irtifa'uha, irtifa' is the height of something. Irtifa'uha is height, the height of this particular tower. ضعف منارة قطب الدين في Delhi. ضعف بمعنى double. So I would have been able to get to the moon if there was any tower that has double the height of the Qutbuddin's minaret. You can search on it, Minaret Qutbuddin. You will see it is in India. Fi Delhi. It's very tall. And they said it is the second longest tower. That is the second longest tower. So he was telling the father that if there was, I would have been able to reach the moon if there was any tower that is double the height of the Qutbuddin's tower. The child is really making it funny. He says, لِأُمَكَّنَ الصُّعُودَ إِلَى الْقَمَرِ, so that it will enable me to climb to the moon. Okay. Al-Walidu, then the father asked the child, وَكَمْ إِرْتِفَاعُ مَنَارَةِ قُطْبُ الدِّينِ يَا هِشَامُ? وَكَمْ إِرْتِفَاعُ, how much is the height? How much is the height of the Qutbuddin's minaret, O Hisham? And سَمِعْتُ أَنَّ إِرْتِفَاعَهَا, I heard that its height مِئَتَانِ 200 وَاثْنَتَانِ وَأَرْبَعُونَ and 42 قَدَمًا feet. I heard that its height is 242 feet. أو 80 ذراعًا, or 80 is it cubit or L, ELL, an old measurement system, cubit or an L. So it's either 80 cubit or 242 feet. Okay. And it says وَذَلِكَ إِرْتِفَاءٌ كَبِيرٌ, and that is a very long height. Hisham is the one saying, the boy, saying that is a very long height. It's a very big height. So if you get a double of that, he will reach the moon. Al-Walidu, and the father said, Subhanallah, glory be to Allah. It was funny for him, like he could see how naive or cute the boy is looking. Something 242 feet, you use it to reach the moon. If you get a 2 of it, that is, if you should get 484 feet, you'll be able to reach the moon. Hilarious. So he said, the father says, Subhanallah, innaka waladun basitun, ay innaka waladun latifun. You are a cute boy. You are a simple boy, naive. You don't know what you're talking about. Innal qamara, verily the moon, ya waladi, oh my son, yab'udu min al-ardi, it is far from the earth, mi'atay alf wa khamsina alf milin. It is far from the earth by 250,000 miles. mi'atay alf wa khamsina alf, ay mi'atayn wa khamsina alf mil, 250,000 miles. وهو أقرب الكواكب إلى الأرض, and it is the closest, أقرب الكواكب of the celestial bodies to the earth, is the closest of the celestial bodies to the earth. Al-Kawkab We can say the star is called Kawkab, the moon is Kawkab, the Shams is called Kawkab, even our Ard, the earth, is called Kawkab. Okay, so it's the closest of the celestial bodies to the earth, but then it is 250,000 miles away. Okay, then Hisham says, فَفِي كَمْ مُدَّةٍ يَصِلُ الْإِنسَانُ إِلَى الْقَمَرِ إِذَا سَافَرَ إِلَيْهِ. So what is the time, mudda, what is the time span that a person would use to reach the moon if he travels to it? فَفِي كَمْ مُدَّةٍ, in what period? يَصِلُ الْإِنسَانُ, that a person will reach إِلَى الْقَمَرِ, to the moon, إِذَا سَافَرَ إِلَيْهِ, if he travels to it. Al-walidu, إِذَا سَافَرَ الْإِنسَانُ إِلَى الْقَمَرِ, if a person travels to the moon, في قطار, in a train, يسير 50 ميلا في ساعة, whilst moving 50 miles an hour. If you travel with a train that moves 50 miles an hour, فإنه يصل, the person will reach to the moon إلى القمر في نحو 7 أشهر, in about 7 months. So if you travel with a train that goes 50 miles an hour, you are going to need about 7 months to reach the moon. وإذا كانت الطائرة تطير 500 ميل في ساعة, if a plane flies 500 miles في ساعة, in an hour, traveling 500 hours in an hour, then فالإنسان, then the person يصل إلى القمر بالطائرة, the person will reach the moon by the plane, by flight, في يومين, in 2 days, و20 ساعة, and 20 hours. So if you go 500 miles per hour, you will need 2 days and 20 hours, almost 3 days, to reach the moon from earth. Says Hisham, Ya Subhanallah. Now Hisham himself is seeing the great deal here. Says, Ya Subhanallah, oh glory be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oh glorified is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَسَمِعْتُكَ يَا Abi, and I heard you say, oh my father, تَقُولُ, I heard you, oh my father, تَقُولُ, saying, إِنَّ الْقَمَرَ أَقْرَبُ الْكَوَاكِبِ إِلَى الْأَرْضِ فَهَلِ الْقَمَرُ كَوْكَبٌ. I heard you say that the moon is the closest of the celestial bodies to the earth. Is the moon a celestial body? Is it a kawkab? Anything in space, the earth itself is kawkab, as I've indicated. And I heard you say it is the closest to the earth. Is the moon also a celestial body? Then the father answers, Na'am, ya waladi, oh my son. Al-qamaru wa-shamsu wal-ardu, the moon, the sun, the earth, wal-nujumu, and the stars. Kulluha kawakib, all of them are space, bodies in space. I don't know if there is another terminology for it, but celestial bodies. Minhal qaribu, among them is the one that is close. Wa minhal ba'idu, and some of them are far. So some of the celestial bodies are close, like the moon, and some are far, like the sun and the star. Wa minha as-sagiru, and among them some are small. Wa minha al-kabiru, and some are big. Hisham asked, Shay'un gharib, something strange. فهل الشمس أقرب الكواكب إلى الأرض? So is the sun the closest of the celestial bodies to the earth? وَلِذَلِكَ نُورُهَا, and so its light سَاطِعٌ قَوِيٌّ جِدًّا, and so its light is shining and very strong. Is it because the sun is rather the closest to the earth? You see the child's thinking, very innocent. Because he feels the sun is very hot, its light shines very hard, everywhere is bright. Is it because it is the closest? Then the father answers, Al-walidu, La ya waladi, oh my son. Ash-shamsu tab'udu min al-ardi, the sun is far from the earth. Miqdara, so here you can say bimiqdari or miqdara. It's far from the earth with a distance of tis'ina miqdara, by a distance of, by an estimation of tis'ina milyonan wa thalathata malayin, 93 million miles away from the earth. The sun is about 93 million miles away from the earth. It says, فَالْإِنسَانُ يَصِلُ إِلَى الشَّمْسِ. A person reaches the sun, فِي ذَلِكَ الْكِتَارِ, in that train that he mentioned. I think he said the train, if you should go 50 miles an hour, if you should travel in such a train to the sun, you will reach the sun في 200 آمٍ, في 200 آمٍ وعشرة أعوام, and 10 years. You reach the sun in 210 years. If you have to go by a train that goes 50 miles per hour from the earth to the sun, you need 210 years to reach the sun. Hisham, Allahu Akbar, Allah is the greatest. وَلِأَيِّ شَيْءٍ هِيَ سَاطِعَةٌ وَاضِحَةٌ جِدًّا. And why is the sun that brighten? وَاضِحَةٌ, very clear. جِدًّا, how? Says Al-Walidu, the father answered, says لِأَنَّهَا أَكْبَرُ مِنَ الْأَرْضِ, because the sun is bigger than the earth. مِلْيُونَ وَثَلَاثُمِئَةَ أَلْفٍ مَرَّةٍ. The sun is 1,300,000 times bigger than the earth. It is like the earth size 1,300,000 times. The sun is really big. It says وَلَوْلَا هَذَا الْبُعْدُ, and if not وَلَوْلَا, and if not for this distance, الشَّاسِعُ هَذَا الْبُعْدُ الشَّاسِعُ, if not for this vast distance, الشَّاسِعُ, a vast, if not for this vast distance, لَكَانَتْ أَسْتَعَ, it would have been more brightened, more beaming, وَأَوْضَحْ, and more clearer, if not for the distance. Hisham, وَهَلْ هَذِهِ النُّجُومُ الَّتِي نَرَاهَا كَالنُّقَطِ صَغِيرَةٌ جِدًّا. And are these stars, هذه النجوم, are these stars, التي نراها, that we see, the stars that we see, are they كالنقط, are they like dots? Nuqat is the plural of nuqtatun. Are they like dot, like this? Are they like this? Are they like nukta sagiratun jiddan, very small? Because if you see the star up above there, it looks like a small dot. Are they like that? The father says, Al-Walidu, the father says, La ya waladi, no, O my son. Inna ba'da nujumi akbaru min ash-shamsi bikathir. Some of the stars are bigger than the moon a lot of times. Bigger than the moon, more bigger than the moon. Inna ba'da nujumi, indeed, some of the stars, akbaru min ash-shamsi bikathir, they are more bigger than the sun a lot of times. وَلَكِنَّهَا أَبْعَدُ عَنْهَا كَذَلِكَ بِكَثِيرٍ. But then also it is very far from the sun with a lot of distance. That's why we see it like that. حَتَّى إِنَّ بَعْضَهَا لَا يُرَى إِلَّا بِالْمُكَبَّرَةِ. Such that حَتَّى إِنَّ, such that بَعْضَهَا لَا يُرَى, some of it cannot be seen, إِلَّا بِالْمُكَبَّرَةِ, except with telescope or something like that, mukabbara, something to enlarging the image, something to enlarge the image. So some of the stars can't even be seen unless you even get a telescope before you can see them, because they are very far away from Earth, and some of them are very big, much bigger than the sun. Okay, this is the first of the Hadith al-Qamar. Inshallah, we go into Hadith al-Qamar number 2 soon. May Allah enable us do that, inshallah. Okay, that is the first of it. I'm hopeful we've learned a word or two. Anything that is unclear here, please, you do all to call my attention. I will attend to it duly, inshallah. Allah grant us the beneficial knowledge. Inshallah, till we meet again. Astaudi'ukumullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.